The announcement came too late. By the time June reached the platform, breath shallow, jacket damp from the rain, the doors were already closing. He slowed, then stopped entirely, watching the red lights of the train slide away into the dark tunnel like a quiet refusal. Last train.
Gone.
For a moment, he just stood there, rain ticking softly against the concrete, the station half empty and echoing. His phone buzzed in his pocket. He didn't need to look to know what it was, an automatic notification, a timetable reminder that offered no solutions. Behind him, a familiar voice broke the silence. You too. June turned. Min-jae stood a few steps away, one hand gripping the strap of his bag, hair slightly damp at the edges. He looked composed, like this was an inconvenience at worst, not a problem. Missed it? Min-jae asked. June nodded.
Yeah.
They stood there together. Two men stranded by timing and weather, neither quite ready to acknowledge what that meant. Well, Min-jae said lightly, glancing around. Guess we're walking. June hesitated. His apartment was closer than Minji's. He knew this. He also knew exactly what offering would imply. You can, he started, then stopped. Tried again. You can stay at my place. If you want. It's nearby. Min-jae looked at him for a moment longer than necessary. Something unreadable crossed his face. Only if you're sure, he said. June nodded, a little too quickly. I'm sure.
He didn't examine why.
The rain had settled into a steady rhythm by the time they stepped outside. Streetlights blurred into soft halos, reflections stretching across the pavement. June pulled his jacket tighter, then paused. I have an umbrella, he said. So do I, Min-jae replied. They looked at each other, then at the narrow sidewalks, the slick ground. After a beat, Min-jae folded his umbrella shut. Yours is bigger, he said, a smile tugging at his mouth. June swallowed and opened it. They walked close. Not touching, but close enough that June was acutely aware of Minji's presence, the warmth of his arm, the way their steps fell into sync without effort. The city felt quieter than usual, wrapped in rain. Cars passed occasionally, tires hissing against wet asphalt. Somewhere, music leaked faintly from an open window, distorted by distance. Neither of them spoke. June's thoughts spiraled anyway. He'd worked with Min-jae for almost a year. Long enough to notice the way he listened when others talked. Long enough to feel that strange pull in his chest whenever Min-jae smiled at him across a conference table. Long enough to build careful walls around feelings he refused to name. Tonight felt different. Too close. Too quiet. Minji's hand brushed his as they navigated around a puddle. Just once. June's breath hitched. He didn't look down. Didn't pull away. Neither did Min-jae. The apartment building loomed ahead, old concrete softened by creeping ivy. June fumbled with his keys at the door, suddenly aware of how fast his heart was beating. This is it, he said unnecessarily. Inside, the hallways smelled faintly of detergent and something floral from a neighbor's diffuser. June pushed the door open and stepped aside to let Min-jae in. Home sweet home, Min-jae murmured, slipping off his shoes. The apartment was small but tidy, neutral colors, clean lines, the kind of place that revealed little about the person who lived there. June dropped his keys into the bowl by the door, the sound louder than it should have been. You want something to drink? He asked. Water? Tea. Tea's good. June busied himself in the kitchen, grateful for something to do with his hands. He filled the kettle, listening to the quiet hum of the apartment, aware of Min-jae moving behind him. When he turned, Min-jae was leaning against the counter, jacket unzipped, sleeves rolled just enough to expose his wrists. June looked away too quickly. They drank their tea standing up, the steam curling between them. Conversation stayed light, work, the weather, small things. Safe things. Still, there was something humming beneath it all. When the cups were empty, Min-jae glanced toward the living room. The couch was narrow. Uninviting. You don't have to give me the couch, he said. I can share the bed. I won't steal the blankets. June laughed, the sound slightly strained.
Right. Yeah.
Of course. The words felt heavier than they should have. They changed in silence. June faced the window, pulling on an old t-shirt, acutely aware of every rustle of fabric behind him. He could hear Min-jae moving unhurried, comfortable, like he belonged here. When they lay down, the bed dipped under Min-jae's weight. There was space between them. Not much. Enough to notice. The rain tapped against the window. Minutes passed. June stared at the ceiling, tracing faint cracks, listening to Min-jae's breathing. Slow. Even. You awake? Min-jae asked quietly. Yeah. This is weird, Min-jae said. June exhaled. A little. Silence settled again, heavier this time. June could feel the warmth radiating from Min-jae's body, could count the inches between them without trying. Min-jae shifted. His knee brushed June's. Sorry, Min-jae murmured. It's fine, June said, too quickly. His heart pounded. He didn't move away. Time stretched. June thought about all the almost moments he'd ignored over the past year. The way Min-jae lingered after meetings. The way his eyes softened when they laughed together. The way his presence felt grounding and unsettling. You're tense, Min-jae said softly. June turned his head. Min-jae was already looking at him. Their faces were close enough that June could see the faint shadow beneath Min-jae's eyes, the subtle curve of his lips. The air between them felt charged, like a held breath. I'm not, June lied. Min-jae smiled faintly. You are. Their hands lay inches apart on the mattress. June stared at Min-jae's fingers, wondering what would happen if he moved. Wondering what would break. Min-jae, he said quietly. Yeah, this is a bad idea. Min-jae nodded. I know. Neither of them moved. The rain softened, then slowed. Min-jae's fingers shifted, brushing June's wrist. Not accidental this time. If I tell you to stop, Min-jae whispered, will you? June swallowed. Yes. Min-jae searched his face, eyes dark with something unsteady. Then he nodded. Okay. Still, nothing happened. The restraint felt louder than any action could have been. Eventually, Min-jae pulled back, sitting up. The distance returned too suddenly. We should sleep, he said. Before we do something we can't pretend didn't happen. June sat up too. Right. They lay back down, facing opposite directions now, the space between them colder than before. Sleep came slowly. When it did, it was restless. Morning light crept into the room, pale and hesitant. June woke first, aware immediately of where he was and who was beside him. Min-jae was still asleep, turned slightly toward him, lashes dark against his skin. For a moment, June let himself look. Really look. Then Min-jae stirred. Their eyes met. Neither spoke. I should go, Min-jae said quietly, already sitting up. June nodded.
Yeah.
Min-jae dressed quickly, movements careful, controlled. At the door, he hesitated. Last night didn't mean nothing, he said. But it can't mean everything. June met his gaze. I know. Min-jae nodded once and left. The door clicked shut. June stood alone in the quiet apartment, the bed still warm, the air still heavy with what hadn't happened. He knew nothing was the same anymore.
June didn't sleep again that night. Not really. He lay on his side, staring at the faint outline where Min-jae had been hours ago, replaying everything that hadn't happened with an obsessive precision that felt cruel. The almost touch. The question Min-jae had asked. The way he'd pulled back first. By morning, the rain was gone, but the heaviness remained. Work felt wrong. The office buzzed with its usual low hum. Keyboards tapping, phones vibrating, someone laughing too loudly near the break room. Everything was normal. That was the problem. June sat at his desk, coffee cooling untouched beside him, eyes flicking to the entrance every few seconds before he forced himself to stop. Don't look for him. Don't make it obvious. The elevator chimed. June didn't look up. He didn't need to. Min-jae's presence was something he felt before he saw, like a shift in the air, subtle but undeniable. The sound of his footsteps was familiar enough that June's chest tightened before he could stop it. Morning. Min-jae's voice was calm. Professional. Too smooth. June looked up. Their eyes met. Just for a second. Then Min-jae looked away. Morning, June replied, forcing his voice to stay even. That was it. No acknowledgement of the night before. No hesitation. No crack. It felt worse than anger would have. The day dragged. Emails blurred together. Meetings passed in a haze. Every time Min-jae spoke, June's attention snapped to him automatically, his tone measured, his expression neutral, like nothing had shifted. Like they hadn't shared a bed. Like silence hadn't screamed between them. At lunch, Min-jae didn't sit near him. At 3 o'clock, June caught Min-jae laughing with someone else by the printer. The sound twisted something sharp in his chest. This is stupid, he told himself. You agreed it couldn't mean everything. Still. When 5 o'clock came, relief didn't follow. Only dread. They ended up in the elevator together. Of course they did. The doors slid shut with a soft thud, sealing them inside. The space felt suddenly too small, the air too thick. Min-jae pressed the button for the lobby. June stared straight ahead. The elevator descended in silence. Then Min-jae spoke. You okay? The question was casual. Almost careless. June let out a quiet laugh. Yeah. Why wouldn't I be? Min-jae glanced at him. Just once. His eyes lingered a fraction too long. Just asking. The elevator slowed. June's heart pounded. He didn't know what he wanted. An apology, a confession, an argument. Anything but this careful distance. The doors opened. Min-jae stepped out first. See you tomorrow, he said. June watched him walk away, shoulders tense, posture controlled. That night, June went home alone. Days passed. Too many. Min-jae became polite. Distant. Efficient. Every interaction was stripped of warmth, and somehow that hurt more than closeness would have. June tried to convince himself it was for the best. He failed. It came to a head late Friday evening. The office had emptied out, the sky outside darkening into indigo. June was packing up when he noticed the lights still on in the conference room. Min-jae sat alone inside, jacket off, sleeves rolled up, staring at his laptop like it had personally betrayed him. June hesitated. Then knocked lightly on the glass. Min-jae looked up, startled. His expression shifted. Something real flashing across his face before it smoothed out. Hey, he said. Hey. June stepped inside, the door clicking shut behind him. You working late? June asked. Min-jae nodded. Trying to. Silence settled. It felt heavier than the bed had. About the other night, June said finally. Min-jae stiffened. June. I know. June cut in gently. I know we said it couldn't mean everything. I'm not trying to push. Min-jae studied him, jaw tight. Then what are you doing? June exhaled. I'm trying not to pretend it meant nothing. The words hung between them. Min-jae looked away, hands curling slightly against the table. That night scared me, he admitted quietly. June's heart stuttered. Me too. Min-jae met his gaze again, eyes dark and searching. I don't know how to do this halfway, he said. June swallowed. I don't think I want halfway. Silence. Min-jae stood abruptly, pacing once, then stopping in front of June. This is a bad idea, he said again, but this time his voice wavered. June nodded. Probably. Neither of them moved. The air felt charged, tight with unspoken want. Min-jae stepped back. I need time, he said. I need to figure this out. June nodded, even though disappointment burned through him. Okay. Min-jae grabbed his jacket and left. Again. That night, June lay awake, phone face down on his chest. He didn't know what he was waiting for. The screen lit up. Min-jae. Are you awake? June's breath caught. June. Yeah. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Min-jae. I shouldn't have left like that. June stared at the message, heart racing. June. Then don't. Several seconds passed. Then. Min-jae. Can I come over? June didn't hesitate. June. Yes. The knock came 10 minutes later. June opened the door to find Min-jae standing there, hair slightly disheveled, eyes restless. Neither spoke. Min-jae stepped inside. The door closed. Silence wrapped around them again. But this time it felt different. Heavier. More dangerous. Min-jae exhaled slowly. I'm not here to pretend. June nodded. Good. They stood there, close enough to feel each other's breath. Min-jae reached out. And stopped. Not tonight, he said softly. I just needed to be here. June's chest tightened, but he nodded. Stay, he said. Min-jae did. They sat on opposite ends of the couch, close enough that their knees touched. Neither moved. The wanting did enough. The city was quieter at night, the kind of quiet that didn't erase sound but sharpened it. Every small noise mattered: the hum of the refrigerator, the distant rush of cars, the soft click of the clock on the wall. June noticed all of it. Min-jae sat on the far end of the couch, one arm draped along the backrest, his other hand resting loosely on his knee. He hadn't taken his shoes off this time. That alone told June more than words could have. Not staying long. Not getting comfortable. Trying to stay in control. They'd been sitting like this for several minutes, the television muted, the light dim. Close enough that their knees touched. Far enough that neither had to acknowledge it. June broke the silence first. You don't have to pretend you're okay, he said quietly. Min-jae's jaw tightened. He didn't look over. I'm not pretending. June studied his profile, the sharp line of his cheek, the tension in his shoulders. He'd learned to read Min-jae in fragments over the past year. The small signs. The pauses between words. You left like that before, June said. At the office. Min-jae exhaled slowly. I know. And now you're here. Yeah. Another silence. This one felt heavier than the others. Like it carried weight from all the conversations they'd avoided. I didn't come to do something stupid, Min-jae said at last. If that's what you're thinking. June shook his head. I didn't think that. That's good. Min-jae glanced at him then, eyes dark and searching. Because if I do something stupid, it won't be an accident. The honesty in his voice sent a low heat through June's chest. He didn't move. Didn't look away. Then why are you here? He asked. Min-jae's gaze dropped to where their knees touched. Because I couldn't sleep, he said. Because every time I closed my eyes I was back here. Because pretending you don't exist during the day feels worse than wanting you at night. June swallowed. That doesn't sound like nothing. It's not. Min-jae's voice softened. That's the problem. They moved to the kitchen without deciding to. June filled the kettle. Min-jae leaned against the counter again. The same place as the first night, like the apartment itself remembered him. Do you ever feel like you're always the careful one? Min-jae asked suddenly. June paused. What do you mean? I mean, I've spent most of my life being good at not crossing lines. Not wanting things too loudly. Not letting myself fall where I can't get back up. He laughed under his breath. And then you happened. June turned. I didn't mean to. I know. Min-jae met his eyes. That's what scares me. The kettle clicked off. June poured the water, hands steady despite the way his pulse raced. You don't have to figure everything out tonight, he said. Min-jae took the mug but didn't drink. If I stay, he said carefully, something is going to change. Even if we don't touch. June nodded. It already has. Min-jae looked at him for a long moment. Then he set the mug down untouched. Stay with me, he said. Not a request. Not a command. A truth spoken aloud. June's breath caught. I am. They sat on the floor this time, backs against the couch, legs stretched out. The room felt different at night. Smaller, more intimate, like it was holding its breath with them. Min-jae leaned his head back, eyes closed. Do you remember the first time we talked? He asked. June smiled faintly. You corrected my presentation. Min-jae laughed softly. I thought you hated me. I did, June admitted. For about 5 minutes. And then? And then I noticed you stayed late every night. Even when you didn't have to. Min-jae opened his eyes. I liked working when you were still there. The confession sat gently between them. No rush. No urgency. I think, Min-jae continued, I've been wanting this longer than I'll admit. June turned his head, their shoulders brushing. Me too. Minji's hand rested beside June's on the floor. Their fingers were close. Not touching. The space between them felt deliberate now. Charged. If I touch you, Min-jae said quietly, I don't know if I'll stop. June's voice was barely above a whisper. Then don't touch me. Minji's lips curved, faint and bittersweet. You're cruel. I'm honest. Min-jae shifted closer anyway. Just enough that their arms pressed together, warmth bleeding through fabric. Say the word, Min-jae said, and I'll leave. June didn't say it. They sat like that for a long time, breathing in sync without meaning to. June felt every inch of the restraint between them, every choice being made in silence. The clock read past midnight when Min-jae finally spoke again. I don't want to be alone tonight, he said. But I don't trust myself to be good. June stood and held out a hand. Come to bed. Min-jae froze. Looked up at him. We can sleep, June added quickly. Just sleep. Min-jae studied his face, searching for doubt. Finding none. Okay, he said. They lay down with more space than before. Careful. Intentional. The bed felt bigger tonight, the distance more deliberate. June turned onto his side. Min-jae mirrored him without comment. They faced each other. You're shaking, June said softly. Min-jae scoffed. You're not. June smiled. I am. Min-jae hesitated, then reached out, slowly, like asking permission, and rested his hand on June's wrist. The contact sent a quiet jolt through both of them. Still okay? Min-jae asked. June nodded. Still okay. Min-jae didn't move his hand. Didn't tighten his grip. Just stayed there, present. They breathed together. This is harder than touching, Min-jae murmured. I know. At some point, Minji's forehead rested against June's. Not a kiss. Not quite an embrace. Something gentler. Something worse. If we keep doing this, Min-jae said, I won't be able to pretend anymore. June closed his eyes. Then don't. Min-jae laughed softly, breath warm against his skin. You make it sound easy. I don't think it is. June opened his eyes. I think it's worth it. The words hung there, fragile and dangerous. Min-jae pulled back just enough to look at him. His eyes were dark, searching, vulnerable in a way June had never seen before. I don't know how this ends, Min-jae said. June answered without hesitation. Neither do I. That seemed to decide something. Min-jae leaned in, slow, deliberate, and pressed his forehead back to June's again. Stayed there. No kiss. Just closeness. A promise deferred. Eventually, exhaustion won. Minji's breathing evened out first. His hand stayed curled around June's wrist, loose but present, like he might disappear if he let go. June didn't sleep much. But when he did, it was deeper than it had been in weeks. Morning arrived quietly. Sunlight filtered through the curtains, pale and soft. June woke to warmth again. But this time, Min-jae was closer. Not pressed against him. Just near enough that their legs tangled slightly beneath the sheets. Min-jae stirred. Opened his eyes. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Min-jae smiled. Small. Real. Still here, he said. June nodded. Still here. Min-jae sat up slowly, running a hand through his hair. He looked calmer. Not resolved but grounded. I have to go, he said. Not because I want to. Because if I don't, I'll stay. June sat up too. This isn't over. Min-jae met his gaze. No. At the door, Min-jae paused. I don't want to do this halfway anymore, he said. But I need time to figure out how to do it right. June nodded. Take it. Min-jae hesitated, then stepped forward and did something he hadn't done yet. He pulled June into a hug. It was brief, careful, necessary. Then he left. June stood in the quiet apartment, heart steady for the first time in days. They hadn't crossed the line. But it was close now. Closer than ever. And next time, June wasn't sure either of them would stop. The problem with not crossing a line is that once you stop pretending it isn't there, every step feels deliberate. June felt it the moment he walked into the office. People were talking. Phones rang. Keyboards clicked. Life moved on exactly as it always did. But Min-jae didn't look at him. Not once. He sat at his desk, posture perfect, eyes fixed on his screen like it held the answers to everything. Calm. Controlled. The version of Min-jae everyone trusted. The version June knew too well. June dropped his bag, sat down, waited. Nothing. No glance. No acknowledgement. No quiet morning like before. So this is how we're doing this, June thought. They made it until lunch before it became unbearable. June followed Min-jae into the stairwell without thinking. The door closed behind them with a soft click, sealing them into concrete silence. Min-jae stopped mid-step. Don't, he said quietly, still facing away. June's chest tightened. Don't what? Don't look at me like that. Min-jae turned, eyes sharp now. Guarded. Not here. June crossed his arms. You're acting like last night didn't happen. Min-jae let out a humorless breath. Last night was a mistake. The word hit harder than June expected. Is that what you really think? June asked. Min-jae hesitated. That was all the answer June needed. You stayed, June said. You didn't have to. I know. Min-jae rubbed a hand over his face. That's the problem. June stepped closer. Not touching. Just close enough to feel the tension. You said you didn't want to do this halfway anymore. I said a lot of things at midnight, Min-jae snapped, and immediately softened. I'm trying to protect us. June laughed quietly. From what? Wanting each other. Min-jae met his gaze, something raw breaking through. From ruining everything. They stood there longer than they should have. Min-jae finally straightened. We need rules. June blinked. Rules. Yes. Min-jae nodded, like saying it made it real. Boundaries. Distance. Professionalism. And outside work? June asked. Min-jae didn't answer. That's not a rule, June said gently. That's avoidance. Min-jae's jaw tightened. You want honesty? Fine. If we don't stop now, I won't be able to. June searched his face. Stop what? Wanting you. Min-jae's voice dropped. Thinking about you. Imagining what it would be like if I stopped being careful. Silence stretched. Then June said the thing he'd been holding back since morning. I don't want careful. Min-jae's breath caught. I want real, June continued. Even if it's messy. Even if it scares you. Min-jae closed his eyes. You make it sound noble. I think it's just honest. A beat. Then Min-jae stepped back. We'll talk later, he said. Not here. And walked out. Later came in the form of rain. June stood under the awning outside the office building, phone in hand, watching the sky break open. People scattered. Cars honked. The city blurred. His phone buzzed. Min-jae, come over. No apology. No explanation. June smiled despite himself. The apartment felt different again. Less tentative. More charged. Min-jae didn't offer tea this time. He took his coat off, set his keys down, leaned against the counter like he needed something solid behind him. I tried today, he said. June nodded. I know. I failed. June stepped closer. You showed up. Min-jae laughed softly. Is that what we're calling it? Yes. They stood an arm's length apart. Closer than before. Farther than they wanted. I don't know how to do this slowly anymore, Min-jae admitted. June's voice was steady. Then don't. Min-jae looked at him, really looked, and something shifted. He reached out. This time, he didn't stop. His hand cupped June's jaw, thumb warm against his skin. Gentle. Reverent. Like he'd imagined this 100 times and still couldn't believe it was happening. "Tell me to stop," Min-jae whispered. June didn't. Min-jae leaned in. The kiss was nothing like the tension leading up to it. It wasn't rushed. Or rough. Or desperate. It was slow. Careful in a different way. Like they were learning each other's rhythm in real time. Min-jae pulled back first, forehead resting against June's. "That changes things," he murmured. June smiled. "Good." They sat on the couch afterward, closer than before, legs tangled without thinking. Min-jae traced idle patterns on June's wrist. "I don't want this to be a secret forever," he said. June nodded. "Me neither. But I need time." Minji's voice softened. "To come out of hiding. To stop living like this part of me is temporary." June turned toward him. "I'm not in a rush." Min-jae smiled faintly. "You should be." "Why?" "Because once I decide," Min-jae said, eyes dark, "I don't hold back." June laughed quietly. "Noted." They kissed again. Brief. Sweet. Dangerous. When Min-jae finally stood to leave, he looked different. Lighter. Like a man who'd finally told himself the truth. At the door, he paused. "This isn't a mistake," he said. June answered without hesitation. "I know." Min-jae smiled and left. June leaned against the door long after it closed. They had crossed the line. Not in fire, but in choice. And tomorrow, the world would notice. The first thing June noticed was the silence. Not the comfortable kind. Not the familiar rhythm of co-workers settling into their desks. This silence was sharp, selective. It moved when he moved. He felt it when he stepped off the elevator. Conversations dipped. Eyes flicked away too late to pretend they hadn't been watching. Min-jae was already at his desk. Perfect posture. Neutral expression. Untouchable. If June hadn't known better, he would have believed nothing had changed. But he did know better. Because Min-jae didn't look at him. Not even once. By mid-morning, the tension had grown teeth. They were called into a meeting together. Unexpected, urgent. The kind that left no room to breathe. June sat across the table from Min-jae, their knees inches apart, separated by wood and professionalism, and everything they weren't allowed to be. Min-jae spoke calmly. Confidently. Like a man with nothing to hide. June watched his hands instead. The same hands that had held his face the night before. The same fingers that had traced quiet promises into his skin. Now folded neatly on the table. A coworker glanced between them. Too long. June felt his stomach drop. It happened after lunch. Not a confrontation. Worse. A whisper. "You and Min-jae, are you close?" It came from So-hee, her tone light, curious, pretending it wasn't loaded. June forced a smile. "We work together." She nodded slowly. "Right. That was all. But rumors don't need confirmation. They just need space to breathe." Min-jae found him in the copy room. Of all places. The door clicked shut behind him, and for the first time all day, the mask slipped. "You feel it too," Min-jae said quietly. June swallowed. "They're watching." Min-jae nodded. "They always were. We just gave them something to look for." June leaned against the counter. "Are you scared?" Min-jae hesitated. That was answer enough. "I won't apologize for wanting you," June said softly. Minji's eyes darkened. "I know. That's not what scares me." "Then what does?" Min-jae stepped closer, voice low. "Losing control." June let out a breath. "You're not alone in this." "I've been alone in this my whole life," Min-jae replied. The words weren't dramatic. Just honest. And that honesty hurt. That night, Min-jae didn't invite him over. June told himself it was fine. He failed. By midnight, he was pacing his apartment, replaying every look, every pause, every distance Min-jae had put between them that day. His phone buzzed. Min-jae, I need to see you. June didn't hesitate. They met somewhere neutral. A small bar tucked between buildings. Dim lights. Quiet music. A place for secrets. Min-jae looked tired. Not physically. Emotionally. I told myself I could do this cleanly, he said after his first drink. Balance it. Control it. And? June asked. Min-jae laughed softly. I can't. June reached across the table, stopped just short of touching his hand. Then stop trying to be someone you're not. Min-jae looked at him then, really looked. You make it sound simple. It's not, June admitted. But it's worth it. Min-jae's jaw tightened. You don't know what this costs. Then tell me. Silence. Then Min-jae said. I was taught that this part of me was temporary. Something I'd outgrow. Or bury. June's chest ached. And now? And now I'm in love with a man who looks at me like I'm already free. The words hung between them. June's voice shook. You love me? Min-jae didn't look away. I think I always have. They didn't touch in the bar. They didn't need to. Every glance, every breath, every unspoken word did the work for them. When they left, Min-jae walked June home. At the door, Min-jae stopped. I can't promise this won't get ugly, he said. June smiled softly. I don't need perfect. Min-jae reached out, finally touching him, fingers curling into the front of June's coat. I need time, he said again. But I won't hide you. June leaned into his touch. That's enough. They kissed under the hallway light. Slow. Certain. No fear this time. When Min-jae pulled back, he rested his forehead against June's. Tomorrow, he said. Things change. June nodded. I'm ready. Min-jae smiled. Small, real. So am I. June watched him leave, heart pounding. Tomorrow wouldn't be quiet. Tomorrow would demand choices. And for the first time, neither of them planned to run. The first thing June noticed was the silence. Not the comfortable kind. Not the familiar rhythm of co-workers settling into their desks. This silence was sharp, selective. It moved when he moved. He felt it when he stepped off the elevator. Conversations dipped. Eyes flicked away too late to pretend they hadn't been watching. Min-jae was already at his desk. Perfect posture. Neutral expression. Untouchable. If June hadn't known better, he would have believed nothing had changed. But he did know better. Because Min-jae didn't look at him. Not even once. By mid-morning, the tension had grown teeth. They were called into a meeting together. Unexpected, urgent. The kind that left no room to breathe. June sat across the table from Min-jae, their knees inches apart, separated by wood and professionalism, and everything they weren't allowed to be. Min-jae spoke calmly. Confidently. Like a man with nothing to hide. June watched his hands instead. The same hands that had held his face the night before. The same fingers that had traced quiet promises into his skin. Now folded neatly on the table. A coworker glanced between them. Too long. June felt his stomach drop. It happened after lunch. Not a confrontation. Worse. A whisper. You and Min-jae, are you close? It came from So-hee, her tone light, curious, pretending it wasn't loaded. June forced a smile. We work together. She nodded slowly. Right. That was all. But rumors don't need confirmation. They just need space to breathe. Min-jae found him in the copy room. Of all places. The door clicked shut behind him, and for the first time all day, the mask slipped. You feel it too, Min-jae said quietly. June swallowed. They're watching. Min-jae nodded. They always were. We just gave them something to look for. June leaned against the counter. Are you scared? Min-jae hesitated. That was answer enough. I won't apologize for wanting you, June said softly. Min-jae's eyes darkened. I know. That's not what scares me. Then what does? Min-jae stepped closer, voice low. Losing control. June let out a breath. You're not alone in this. I've been alone in this my whole life, Min-jae replied. The words weren't dramatic. Just honest. And that honesty hurt. That night, Min-jae didn't invite him over. June told himself it was fine. He failed. By midnight, he was pacing his apartment, replaying every look, every pause, every distance Min-jae had put between them that day. His phone buzzed. Min-jae, I need to see you. June didn't hesitate. They met somewhere neutral. A small bar tucked between buildings. Dim lights. Quiet music. A place for secrets. Min-jae looked tired. Not physically. Emotionally. I told myself I could do this cleanly, he said after his first drink. Balance it. Control it. And? June asked. Min-jae laughed softly. I can't. June reached across the table, stopped just short of touching his hand. Then stop trying to be someone you're not. Min-jae looked at him then, really looked. You make it sound simple. It's not, June admitted. But it's worth it. Min-jae's jaw tightened. You don't know what this costs. Then tell me. Silence. Then Min-jae said. I was taught that this part of me was temporary. Something I'd outgrow. Or bury. June's chest ached. And now? And now I'm in love with a man who looks at me like I'm already free. The words hung between them. June's voice shook. You love me? Min-jae didn't look away. I think I always have. They didn't touch in the bar. They didn't need to. Every glance, every breath, every unspoken word did the work for them. When they left, Min-jae walked June home. At the door, Min-jae stopped. I can't promise this won't get ugly, he said. June smiled softly. I don't need perfect. Min-jae reached out, finally touching him, fingers curling into the front of June's coat. I need time, he said again. But I won't hide you. June leaned into his touch. That's enough. They kissed under the hallway light. Slow. Certain. No fear this time. When Min-jae pulled back, he rested his forehead against June's. Tomorrow, he said. Things change. June nodded. I'm ready. Min-jae smiled. Small real. So am I. June watched him leave, heart pounding. Tomorrow wouldn't be quiet. Tomorrow would demand choices. And for the first time, neither of them planned to run.